Mazzocchi. Kvaratskhelia sets himself! He is top class, and it is no coincidence that his return from suspension coincides with Napoli regaining their attacking threat.
Skurra, check it, and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 112, and we're your hosts Matt
and Jake,
here to talk to you guys about Matchday 23.
What a match day. We had a running of giants. Chiara described this game as two tops trying to fuck each other.
Amazing. Yes, a very artistic girlfriend I have. Yeah.
It pretty much summed it up though, but then we had one top that was way more dominant than the other, of course, that top being Inter, right?
Yeah.
An action-packed match day, but to be honest, it didn't get much better than Friday, did it?
I mean, Friday was absolute magic. That Lecce Fiorentina game, that would be the real upset of this match day. I wouldn't say there were other upsets. Frosinone got close to doing one over Milan, but that Lecce Fiorentina were leading until the 89th minute, dog. Lecce got the equalizer in the 90th, winner in the 92nd. Nothing quite like that.
Of course, Atalanta turned up the heat against Lazio.
They are so good, bro.
So good, man.
Atalanta are looking so good. And let me tell you what, bro. So firstly, obviously, CDK, wow.
Yeah,
because that was the best I've ever seen CDK play ever, like. But Miranchuk, dog.
The silky Russian.
But Miranchuk, he's got that magic. He's got the magic in him.
It's true. He's got that beautiful singing voice, by the way.
He's got that boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Miranchuk is highly technical, and he's a super flair player. So, like, he can turn it on and just spin before the defender can even turn. You know what I mean? Like, he just turns. Yeah. You know?
Problem is when Cope is back in the team, then there's no spot for him, unfortunately, and
it's hardly a problem with Gasperini.
Yeah. But he was getting the ball in the box consistently, and that's what a player like that does, man. He gets the ball in the box. But anyway, we're jumping the gun a little bit.
We are. Goal of the week.
Yes, we went with Kvaratskhelia. It had been a while. Last season was full of Kvaratskhelia goals of the week.
Of course, and this one was kind of similar to his goal against Monza last season.
Yes.
Even the commentary was very similar. The commentary for that goal was, here's Kvaratskhelia steadies himself! And this one was
an absolute screamer!
And this was setting himself instead, and he goes on to scream. That technique he has, the way he slouches forward. You know how coaches tell you don't lean back? Yeah. He's the CEO of leaning forward, bro. Yeah. He leans forward and he just gives it that spin and he angles it perfectly into the top corner. It's a beautiful shooting technique he has.
Long distance, top corner. What more would you want from a goal? Close contender, I would say Mandragora struck a delicious strike on the bounce from way out, hit it low hard into the bottom corner. That was an amazing goal. Pasalic had a great goal. It was a great passage of play by Atalanta, the classic cross to the far post that was headed towards Pasalic, who did great to chest the ball and volley it in acrobatically. And obviously the Volpato curler. We've got a new trademark celebration here for Volpato.
An interesting one, huh? Yes. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. I'm not sure if it's one horn on the right only, or if it's an antenna, or if it's like some Terminator thing.
If it's a horn, it makes sense because he's Roman. He is a Roman
But
gentleman.
it's on the side of his head. For those of you who haven't seen it, he kind of puts his thumb... Okay, so he extends his pinky and sticks his thumb out.
It's like, you know, when
like
you're telling people, like, either the wah, rightly said, or else when you're telling people, let's get drinks, let's get fucked up.
That kind of thing you do with your hand. But the Caputo celebration.
It's the Caputo celebration,
but on his head, on the side of his head.
It's weird.
I don't know, man. Maybe
weird.
It's like a reindeer with one antler. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. But how funny, I can't hear the word reindeer, and the first thing I think of is either reindeer or Reinders. So, that's how polluted my mind is. Guys, if you're new here, don't forget to like our podcast, follow us wherever you're listening, drop us a rating, show us some love. It's always great to get new people on board listening to the podcast, and that's what we're here to do. We would like to start a community. We're growing, we've started a community, and we would like to welcome you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You can join the likes of the people who make this podcast happen. Alan, Andrew, Anthony, and... Okay, let's try that again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's go, right. Alan, Andrew, Andy, Anthony, Tim, Campbell, Sluge, McNoodle, Lena, David, Kyle, Luca, Matthias, Mint, Michael, Ed, and Tonna.
Yes, thank you for swapping.
Yeah.
Michael thought that was that one person or two people. Yeah, but those are our patrons. For those of you that don't know, we do have a Patreon. If you guys would like to contribute to the growth of our podcast, we're currently using new microphones. We're in our studio, which now has a door, by the way. Thanks to you guys who pay $3.99 a month to help us fund this.
Absolutely. The money is always put back straight into the podcast. None of it is taken for our own personal gain. Yeah. Mostly because there isn't enough to take for our own personal gain. But no, I swear, we do plan on improving the studio. It's already coming along so nicely.
Yeah. And plus, let's just say that in summer, we struggle sometimes to come up with concepts for content, right? I don't know, maybe some big project in the future throughout the summer period that maybe would require travel, that maybe would require a videographer, maybe, I don't know.
And flight tickets to a certain part of southern Italy.
Yeah. Or central Italy. There are a few interesting ones, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Way up north to Sutterod, baby. Who knows? Yeah. Shall we?
Yes, okay. We shall.
So I'll jump into the rundown, of course.
The rundown, brother. Is this your first time on the podcast?
Yes, as you can tell, both of us have had a long day. But you know what, man? You had a long day. You don't feel like...
Wah. Bitch, little baby. Wah. But yeah, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter one because we're both fucking exhausted life, right? But anyways, we'll kick things off with the Derby d'Italia, where Inter beat Juventus 1-0 due to a singular Gatti own goal. We knew that there weren't going to be many goals in this game, and it was just the one doing for Inter. Frosinone against Milan. Milan had to come back to beat Frosinone, and it was 3-2. The final result, including goals by Gabbia, and Luka Jovic, and even Giroud for Milan. Napoli 2, Verona 1. That's where you'll find our goal of the week. And also an Ngonge goal against his former club, but it did go down as an own goal due to a significant deflection. Atalanta 3, Lazio 1. Atalanta once again looking magnificent, and CDK was absolutely everywhere, anything all at once, or whatever the fuck that movie is called. Roma 4, Cagliari 0. Mamma mia, did Roma look good in this game? Did they look solid? Now, you can run over Cagliari, but their free-flowing attacking football looked so good that it almost reminded me of Spalletti's Napoli without getting too carried away.
The thing is... wait, no, I'm going to start discussing it over here.
Yeah,
the problem is Ranieri's 4-4-2 is not to be underestimated, you know that? In the rundown.
It's literally called a rundown, like... Lecce 3, Fiorentina 2 in what was the upset of the week, and a real comeback there by Lecce.
About Fiorentina.
Lecce were losing the game in the 89th minute, and to come back like that as one of the minnow sides is unbelievable. Bologna 4, Sassuolo 2. This is the most Sassuolo scoreline ever. Both teams had a very good game, but Bologna just showing that bit more class than
a heated derby.
Yeah, it is actually a heated derby, of course, because they are both in Bologna. However, Sassuolo, they are based in Bologna. However, their stadium is in Modena, which is probably why they don't have that many supporters. The last 3 games, we will just brush through towards the latter stages of this episode, because they were all 0-0s. None of these guys got the memo that, it was a free-flowing scoring contest this week, because it was Udinese 0, Monza 0, Torino 0, Salernitana 0, and Empoli 0, Genoa 0.
So I think we should start off with the obvious game, bro. The clash of the Titans. Inter 1, Juve 0, the Derby d'Italia. And what a Derby d'Italia it was, because Inter winning would put them 4 points clear, which would... and they also have a game in hand against Atalanta, so yeah. Juve would have fallen, and in fact did fall a little bit behind in the Scudetto race because of this loss. Jan Sommer was in goal for Inter as they lined up their usual 3-5-2 formation, and I think this was pretty much their strongest 11. There was Pavard, Acerbi and Bastoni at the back, with Darmian out on the right and Di Marco on the left, Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan in the middle, with Thuram and Martinez up front. For Juve, it was also a pretty strong 11, 3-5-2 as well, with Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Bremer and Gatti at the back. Kostic was out on the left, Cambiaso was out on the right, with Rabiot, Locatelli and McKennie in the middle, with a striker partnership of Vlahovic and Yildiz.
So can I start debating something with you from now?
Shouldn't Chiesa be in their strongest 11?
But so it's not that question, because I understand that maybe form plays a significant factor.
And health.
Yeah, and Yildiz is peak fitness, and Chiesa, he's kind of like glass. Like when you have him, like, okay, he is gonna get injured, we all know that, but it's almost like he's preserved all the time for a big occasion. Hello? What's the Derby d'Italia? Is it not a big occasion? Was he not 100% still? Is he ever 100%?
That's a good question. I don't think he's been 100% in a while.
Yeah. I think
that's just the type of player he is, man.
When he's at 100%, he's Italy, Euros, that time they won it.
Yeah.
That is him at full strength.
But that's it, right? The Euros was, how many games at most?
Exactly.
It's like fewer than 10 games. And you can get him on a stretch of form where he does well, but utilizing him that way throughout the season, starting him game in, game out with the way this guy plays, he's bound to injure himself.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that what Allegri's doing is terrible. No. Bringing him on as a gear shift, introducing that fifth gear, into the game later on. He's basically utilizing him the same way Ranieri utilizes Luvumbo.
And it's a shame. It's a
shame because we want to see more of him, but at the end of the day, you start Chiesa, he gets injured.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Or he takes a knock, or he's always playing with a slight knock. There's always something, man. There's always something with him.
But I'm all for Keenan.
Keenan Yildiz, baby, 18 years old, and for the first time, I think he did look 18 years old this game.
Perhaps.
Yeah, this was his first real big challenge, I think.
And he's up against Inter,
and that is one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in Europe.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. It's not a stretch. No, okay, I know there are some listeners that maybe are tuning in that aren't too attuned with Serie A, or maybe they view Serie A as a lesser league, but do not sleep on this Inter setup, because they are very solid off the ball and they are incredibly effective on the ball as well. So yeah, I would say they have one of the best defenses in Europe, if not the best.
Absolutely, for sure. They even made the Champions League final last season, and City struggled to score against them. So very good defense. Juve faced their second loss in 7 Derby d'Italia league meetings. So in reality, this wasn't very straightforward for Inter, and historically, Juve do well in this fixture. Okay, so despite Inter's early possession dominance, they struggled to break through Juve's defense in the first half. Okay, 80% ball possession for Inter in the opening 10 minutes, by the way. A very, very interesting stat over there, because I remember the game starting off pretty end-to-end for a bit. But then just Inter piled it up, man. I'm watching it back. Inter just fucking piled it up on them. Man. And it was in the second half where Juve came out with a little bit more momentum, but we'll get to that eventually.
Isn't that what Juventus do? It's what they're notorious for doing. Yeah. No, you take the ball, we'll chill off it, and then we'll hit you on the break.
Absolutely. Çalhanoğlu had a defense-splitting pass that created a threatening chance. It was an absolute laser. The referee had to duck out of the way, and it came to Di Marco, who played the ball to Thuram, and I think the ball wasn't as ideal as it should have been. It was kind of behind him, and it allowed Bremer. I always call him Gielsen. That's the thing I've been doing since season.
Okay, it's his actual name, Gleison.
Okay. Bremer. Bremer's crucial tackler denied Thuram, of course. What a defender he is, man, Bremer.
Absolutely.
He's incredible, and I'm telling you, Juve have a few miracle workers back there in this game. It really showed. Szczesny being, of course, the god amongst men over there.
Yeah.
Juve, okay, we're stuck in their in their own half. They found a rare opportunity through McKennie setting up Vlahovic, who missed a golden chance. His first touch was too heavy, and he couldn't even take the shot on, to be honest. He just ran it out of play. Unlike Vlahovic, we've seen his first touch has been very good. Okay, his first touch is usually one of the best things about Vlahovic. Last season against Empoli, he had 2 goals. Where the ball came over the top and basically glued itself to his foot. This time, of course, the pressure was mounting and he flunked it. To be honest.
It reminded me of Giroud's touch last season against Inter, and Suma went, Giroud! Giroud! Giroud!
Yep. The turning point came just before halftime when Pavard's mishit bicycle kick led to chaos in the box. Federico Gatti inadvertently chested the ball into his own net. Of course, Thuram was there to pounce had he not done that. Pavard
is a naughty little minx, isn't he? He's
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Because last week, what did I say? I said he's been so sound defensively. And I was expecting him to be a bit more of an attacking outlet for Inter, particularly with the way that they use their wing-backs. And we've seen Pavard really excel as a right wing-back, particularly for France when they won the World Cup. So I really was expecting to see him in more threatening situations. There he is, in the box with his back towards goal. And Bro goes for a bicycle kick.
I would hardly call it mishit.
But I don't think he meant to strike it. He meant to put the ball in a dangerous situation. He meant to guide the ball, I believe. He went for the assist bicycle kick. No,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He might have gone for a goal, to be honest. What I do know is the technique was there.
Yeah.
It's just the strike wasn't exactly 100%, but yeah, it led to a goal, so I'm sure he'll take that. Of course, Thuram did not claim the goal, but he celebrated anyway.
Yeah.
After the break, as I mentioned earlier, Juve came out with a different approach. They managed to outshoot Inter 10-6, but somehow Sommer was never really called into action. Do you remember Sommer making any saves this game?
No, in fact, Materazzi poked fun at that. I don't know if that's a point that you're going to bring up.
But thank you for reminding me. Please go for it.
Totally stealing it. So there was a stat that said the amount of fans, the amount of Inter spectators that there were in the stadium. And Materazzi wrote, he posted that stat, the amount of support that were, plus Jan Sommer, because he was one of the spectators, naturally.
It's the screen that says the total spectators at the stadium. Yeah.
Plus Jan Sommer. Brilliant.
What a shithouse. Brilliant. Sommer was never really called into action, basically. Inter had their opportunities. They had chances through Di Marco and Çalhanoğlu, with Çalhanoğlu striking the post with a wonderful volley. Di Marco was lively, but he wasn't quite accurate this game. He was quite wayward with his crossing and his shooting and everything. Something was off. I don't know if the occasion got to him a little bit. Of course, Szczesny had saves on Thuram, Barella and Arnautovic that were absolutely phenomenal, particularly the Barella one was amazing. It was a tight angle, granted, for Barella, but he was one-on-one and he struck the ball venomously. And Szczesny got down and saved it really well. And the one on Arnautovic was just super. He made himself so big, charging out, to the point that it looks like a bad miss the first time you see it. And then you watch it over and over and you realize that Szczesny rushed out so quickly that Arne didn't really have much to do.
Yeah, it was just proper goalkeeping.
He shot into the space and Szczesny's hand was there.
Yeah.
There's nothing he could have done.
Yeah.
Inter maintained their impressive defensive record beyond the 76th minute, securing a 6th successive home league victory. On the flip side, Juve's 19-match unbeaten streak came to an end, a massive disappointment for Juventus. And the mood at the end of the game was really telling. Juve were pretty disappointed and Inter were over the moon.
There's a lot of... Well, obviously we know how competitive these two sides are. And we know that there was a lot of shit-talking between both parties before this game, including the managers throwing subtle jabs, well, not so subtle jabs, at each other. So there's a lot of pride on the line in a derby like this, and obviously people coming into this were deeming it as a decider. Now I know it's too early to consider this game a decider, especially with Milan being so close to Juventus now. But yeah, so with all that pressure on the line, naturally the mood is gonna be horrible for Juve.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's not looking good, because you need Inter to lose 3 games, 2 games and draw 1, but you need to win them all. Yeah. And that is fucking difficult in a league like this.
Champions League is gonna kick off like in a week or 2.
Yeah.
I believe today week there are matches, Champions League matches. Inter are gonna play, Juve are not gonna play. So that might cause that might cause a little stir. Inter can drop some points over there. Will they? It definitely increases the chances.
Yeah. Yes, but the point is that Juve need to win every game.
They don't get far from that. Juve were just on a 19-match undefeated run, and they won most of those games. Juve can remain consistent so long as they don't have to play Inter.
Or Empoli. Or Sassuolo.
yeah, just those, I guess.
Of course, yes, it's very tight. Anything can happen. One poor run of form for Inter, or an injury crisis for Inter, could really topple the season round, to be honest. So I would definitely say it's too early to count Juve out of the title race, or even Milan for that matter, but it is looking likely that it's going to be Inter's year. And Inter, man, they just seem like they're another level to these teams. They smash Milan every time they play them. They beat Juve over here. If Juve didn't have incredible Wojciech Szczesny in goal, it would have been a 3-0 victory for them.
Absolutely. What I think is this team is so strong, kind of like the Napoli of last season, Spalletti's Napoli, that most of the reason they beat teams like Juve, beat teams like Milan, the top 7 teams, is because these teams are so scared of playing them. And what I mean by scared is, so Juve hung back, for example, because, they're a counter-attacking side. Inter love having the ball. Inter adore being on the ball. What happens when Juve get the ball and they break forward? They are mortified of losing the ball, because Inter on the break are fucking unstoppable.
Yeah.
They are devastating on the break. So that fear kind of kicks in, and it doesn't allow you to be that confident person that tries something special on the ball. It doesn't allow you to get into that flow state, because you overthink everything, because this is a risky pass, and Mkhitaryan can intercept it, or Barella can intercept it, and when one of those intercepts your pass and you've got one player out of position, you are going to be exposed. So I think Inter, because they are so good, they instantly have an advantage by literally not doing anything, because you put any side up against Inter and they instantly become worse, man.
Yeah, absolutely. One interesting thing is that Charlie Alcaraz featured this game, despite having only trained for 1 day. Now, for those of you who don't know who Charlie Alcaraz is, he's a midfielder who was signed by Juve on loan from Southampton, and they have an option to buy him of 51 million. Yes, you heard that right.
Are you calling him Charlie?
Isn't it Charlie Alcaraz?
I've got Carlos here, bro.
You've got Carlos?
Yeah.
So Carlos is his name. His name is Carlos Jonas Alcaraz Duran, but his nickname is Charlie, or Charlie, one of them. Yeah.
Probably a strategic nickname, considering the tennis star at the moment, Carlos Alcaraz.
Googling him has proven to be quite difficult. This guy was at Racing Club. He's from Argentina. Of course, he's 21 years old. With Racing, he had 38 games and scored 4 goals. With Southampton, he had 41 games and scored 7 goals. And now he's been shipped to Juventus. Quite the career trajectory for him. Racing Club, Southampton, Juve.
Yeah. And what did you say the buyout clause was?
51 million.
51 million?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Weird,
who is bro? This game happened on your birthday.
Yes, it did. And I didn't get any birthday presents from it.
Well, you got a PlayStation 5.
From you, not from this game.
Not from just me, to be clear. I'm not saucing out here.
From Matthew and everyone he knows. Yeah, Juve finished this game, bro, with one shot on target that came in the 72nd minute. And that one shot was a weak shot of the left foot of Vlahovic from outside the box with an XG of 0.07.
Madonna.
So safe to say that Juve didn't really threaten, despite always looking in the game. That's what Allegri's Juve gives you. They're always in the game. Even if they don't shoot, they're not going to concede. They're not going to go two behind. They're not going to go two down.
And I noticed this when watching the game, and it was I was almost getting infuriated because at times it didn't look like Juve were looking for a goal. Like Inter would have the ball and Juve would have all 11 players behind the ball.
So it's a problem of like urgency.
Yeah, it was like, Christ, like fucking press them, do something. But they're piling all men back. It's like they definitely don't want to concede another goal, and that is their priority.
Yes, I feel the need, bro, before we move on to once again praise Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who has
he was insane in this game.
Up. Honestly, he was insane in this game. He was pretty much flawless, man, pinging balls over the top, long passes, tackling hard. His work ethic was one of the things I enjoyed most about Çalhanoğlu at Milan, and it's one of the things that I thought was invaluable about his game. And something that most trequartisti actually do not offer, that defensive hustle.
Yeah.
And every time I defended Çalhanoğlu with my peers, I always said, his defensive work rate, what he gives to the team, what he contributes defensively is irreplaceable. And, I was mocked, quite frankly, because your trequartista is not meant to do that. He's meant to create chances and score goals. And that's something that Çalhanoğlu was never consistent at doing at Milan. But Inzaghi has reinvented him. He's playing him deeper. He's got more time on the ball. He's got more time to ping these perfect passes, more room to ping these passes, and he has really transitioned into one of Europe's finest midfielders. Agreed.
And a very versatile one at that, man, because he can play as a trequartista. He can play as a regista, and let me tell you what, bro, as a box-to-box midfielder, he definitely has the qualities to play there as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. When it comes to the table, of course, we've got first place and second place with a point discrepancy of 4, with Inter in first and Juve in second. Inter have a game in hand.
Yep, remember, that game in hand shan't just be considered a guaranteed 3 points, because this is a match that they're playing against Atalanta, who are obviously a very tough side to play against. They've looked immense. And also, if you look at Inter's running throughout that period, so they play against Salernitana at home on the 16th of February. 4 days later, they play against Atletico Madrid at home. 5 days after that, they play Lecce away. And then 3 days after that, they play Atalanta at home. And then just 5 days after that, they play Genoa at home. At least they get to stay at home quite a bit throughout that period, which is good for them. And they can probably afford to rest some players against Lecce.
Of course, their substitutes have proven to be dependable.
Even Aslani.
Yeah, everyone, all of them. So yeah, I'm just curious to see what will happen to them if they experience 3 semi-long-term injuries, just like the other teams, Juve, Milan, Atalanta. These teams have all suffered, Lazio as well, with serious injuries. And it seems that Inter have been quite unfazed. And it seems that Inter are quite unfazed by injuries overall.
Yeah.
They really don't struggle. I don't know if that's a matter of just medics and man management and workload management, or if it's just a matter of luck, to be honest. I have no idea.
How is Barella not injury prone? You know what I mean?
The way he rolls around.
Yeah, right? But anyway, that's enough about that fixture. Let's jump to Frosinone 2, Milan 3. This was a very, very feisty encounter. I really enjoyed watching this game. Obviously, as a Milan fan, I didn't enjoy it so much at the same time, but it was, from a neutral perspective, very enjoyable. So Milan were coming off a 2-2 home draw to Bologna, Frosinone coming off a 1-1 away draw to Hellas Verona. The previous encounter between the two sides was a 3-1 victory for Milan at home. Now, the Rossoneri were coming off a dramatic 2-2 draw with Bologna, which saw both Giroud and Theo missing penalties in case anyone forgot. Tomori, Kalulu, Ciao, Pobega, Caldara and Chukwueze remain unavailable, while the Canarini missed Bonifazi, Oyono, Marvin Cooney, Gediemis, Zortea, Kalai, Luswardi, Baez and Markitsa. So yeah, these are the kinds of injuries that other teams face. This game saw the team that has scored the most first half goals in Serie A this season, which are Milan with 24, take on the side that conceded the most goals in the opening 45 minutes this term, Frosinone with 20.
Damn, you did your homework, huh?
Yeah, SerieA.com. Documents, stats. So it was a 4-2-3-1 formation for Frosinone with Turati in goal and a backline. Listen to this. A backline of Brescianini, Romagnoli, Okoli and Gelli. Brescianini and Gelli as the wing-backs. Very interesting. Berencea and Mazzitelli in the double pivot with Harrui on the left, Sek on the right and Sule behind Caio George. For Milan, it was also a 4-2-3-1 with Mike Magnan in goal and a backline of Calabria, Kier, Gabbia and Hernandez, Reinders and Adli in the pivot, Pulisic on the right, Leao on the left, Loftus-Cheek playing behind Giroud. This is the same exact starting 11 for the past 4 matches.
Yeah.
Now, in the 16th minute, Giroud opened the scoring for Milan. Leao unleashed an early in-swinging cross to the far post that was met by Giroud, heading into the near corner, beating the scrambling Turati at his near post. Good start for Milan. In the 20th minute, though, Sek forced a great save from Magnan after striking from long range, forcing the French goalkeeper to tip the ball over the bar. Just 3 minutes later, in the 23rd, after threatening, Frosinone equalised through a penalty by Sule. The penalty was awarded to Frosinone after a cross met the stray arm of Leao. Sule converted very well despite Magnan going the right way. There was a debate about the penalty because it was very short distance from when the ball left the player's foot to striking the arm of Leao, but at the end of the day it was an infringement, so the penalty was awarded. In the 64th minute, Mazzitelli made it 2-1 for Frosinone, and not against the run of play, because Frosinone were the better side at this point. Mazzitelli squeezed the ball in from a very tight angle, just bobbling over the extended leg of Magnan. First time you watch that, you'll think it went through his legs. Soler got himself a great assist here through a very well-weighted through pass. I do think Magnan should perhaps be doing better in that scenario.
Yes, and it's not really a hot take, is it, anymore? Magnan needs to improve at the near post. Simple as.
We've seen it.
We've seen
him scramble it.
Exactly. There's enough evidence of this. Especially if his demands are actually what they are reported to be, with the reported figure of 8 million a season contract request. That's too much, bro. You need to be pretty much flawless to be the highest earner as a goalkeeper on a team like Milan. You know, Leao doesn't even make 8 million a season. He's a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, like granted, okay, Magnan has also been a game changer, of course, but you know, you can't win a game unless you score a goal. Yeah, basically. So I'm not sure about the goalkeeper being the highest earner ever, to be honest. I'm not sure that's a sustainable model.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Especially when he's, leaking in goals at the near post. Now, Magnan's a fantastic goalkeeper, but he's not going through the best spell at the moment, even with his error against Salernitana and a few errors around that as well. However, in the 72nd minute, Gabbia got the equaliser for Milan, which made every Milan fan so happy after he returned in January. Giroud was once again available at the far post as he received a cross from Adli, and the veteran striker squared his header to the path of Gabbia, who slam dunked the ball into the back of the net with a flying header.
Thank you for saying that, because this game wasn't mine to prepare, and when we're watching this, I told Matthew, I can't wait to describe this goal as a slam dunk on the podcast, because that's what it was, Giroud, man, that instinct to play the ball across goal. How many times have we said, this player should have squared it across the face of goal in that situation, but he went for goal instead. Giroud at least was mindful enough to square it.
And that's what you get. We often complain about having a 37-year-old striker, but that's what that experience does tend to get you. In the 81st minute, Milan got their winner through who else? Luka fucking Jovic once again. Now, Bennacer did very well to win the ball off of a Frosinone defender, whilst the defender did horribly to lose the ball. Benacer crossed the ball to Jovic. Romagnoli and Valeri made an absolute fucking mess of things. I can't even describe what happened. I'm sorry, the ball ping-ponged between them. One of them lost his footing
to each other.
The other started running away and the ball bounced off his back, and it fell perfectly to Jovic, who finished into the bottom corner with his first touch of the game. Bro, so Milan are out here scraping wins, bro. Milan are scraping wins. What was the difficulty in this match?
So, Frosinone are always a side that are going to cause you problems, right?
I guess.
They're a side.
To a degree.
To a degree. They press high, and they force mistakes to a certain extent. Their lineup of Sek, Sule, and Haroui, you've got a nice combination of like aggressive pressers and technically gifted players. You look at Demba Sek, he's going to press you to oblivion. You look at Sule, he's going to press you, and he's also got that technical flair as well, same as Haroui. Kyle George as well, more of a pressing forward than anything else, more of a presence to literally press and disrupt the back line. And Milan's back line at the moment is a little bit fragile, isn't it? We all know this.
Yeah.
And we have Theo Hernandez, who's kind of... he's definitely an unorthodox left back. His position can vary. You often see him up beyond the halfway line, right? Gabbia has just returned and he's been pretty fucking solid, to be honest. But then you have Kier, right, as well, who's a little bit older nowadays. So Milan's defense is there to be fucked with. Yeah. And Frosinone definitely fucked with it, man. And they fucked with it, and they gave Milan the scare of their lives, man. I did think that Milan would only get better as the game progressed, because one thing Milan have that Frosinone don't have is quality of the bench. And how many seasons did we see where Milan didn't have quality of the bench?
Way
so that's
too many.
Actually quite nice, bringing on Benacer, Okafor, Jovic, Florenzi, and Musa is pretty fucking good.
It's excellent.
It's great.
It's excellent. That's not to mention, obviously, the youngsters that Milan have in case any of those guys aren't available.
Yeah, Simic, Jimenez, Bartezaghi, all good. Notice I didn't say Filippo Terracciano's name because I'm angry at him.
We're fighting.
We're fighting. We're not talking right now. So I think that thankfully Pioli's substitutions have really been working. Jovic coming on, I don't know, and people often say that, CDK last year, what the hell under Pioli? Pioli couldn't get them going, Pioli ruins players, they don't get the best out of them. Imagine Leao under another manager. Dude, you look at the numbers that some of these guys have this season, like Giroud and Jovic, they haven't had these numbers in a while.
Come on, it's very harsh to criticize Pioli over what he got out of CDK's first fucking season in Italy after joining from the Belgian league. And I have a point to make about that. Maldini, we're sorry, because he's great. Like he got sacked because of CDK, bro. From today to tomorrow, they fired him. They're like, look, we gave you 35 millis, we gave you 35 bags, and you fucked them by signing this nerd. But no. He's not a nerd at all now, bro. He's a fucking lion.
He's a total nerd, bro. He's a total nerd, man.
He's a dweeb, is what he is.
He's a dweeb, yeah, you see it, But I like when he's playing well. He gets this nerdy confidence that I find really sweet. But funny to see how CDK got Maldini fired and then went and he's killing it at Atalanta and might actually qualify them for the Champions League. He is, as they say in Italian, assassino.
And come on, Pioli develops players. He does develop players. There's no two ways of looking at it.
The two case studies that are mentioned to kind of shit on Pioli is CDK, who's an anomaly because you look at the chances he missed. It's not like Pioli didn't put him in positions to succeed. He missed so many one-on-ones and easy chances at a point. At a point, I remember one chance towards the end of the season when everyone was just done and emotionally exhausted with CDK. He missed an opportunity and the crowd laughed. I had never heard that in a football game.
Madonna, man.
Where the crowd, you hear like Like you're watching 2.5 Men, you know? Like that actually happened with CK. The other case study is Brahim Diaz, who Pioli developed. Brahim Diaz is a pupil of Pioli. Spent 3 seasons with him.
Tomori, Theo Hernandez, these guys, okay, they came to Milan somewhat developed but underperforming. No, and he gets the best out of these guys.
They were far from the men they are today. Even, Leao, Theo, as you said,
Leao, when he arrived, I was like, get this guy out, because he was being played as a striker. And he was, like, Leao was still kind of raw to a degree. His style is raw. And he had that touch and like the lack of certain qualities of a 9, and he was playing as a striker. I was like, get this guy out. But Pioli found his position, he worked on him, and he has cultivated a great fucking left winger.
Absolutely. Look, I think many people are confused nowadays with their stance on Pioli. I don't think it's ludicrous or ridiculous or uncalled for to say that Milan should go for a new manager at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's important to acknowledge Pioli's success at Milan and the fact that Pioli took Milan out of the fucking ashes and back into the sky, bro.
Yes,
because
man.
this team were below low, man.
And he hasn't dipped. He hasn't dipped.
Statistically,
say the stat.
Yes, well, I don't have it on me.
No, basically,
it's the same.
Milan have the same points at the same stage of the season than they did when they won the league.
Exactly.
The difference is that Juve are no longer shit and Inter are no longer throwing away games. That's the fucking difference. Everyone's getting better, so Milan want to get better, so sure, they want to change their coach, they want to upgrade. But Pioli has not dipped.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Last season was a little bit of a dip, of course. If it weren't for Juve bending the rules, Milan wouldn't have qualified for the Champions League. But fortunately, for us at least, Juve bent the rules. If you're a Juve fan listening, unfortunately, okay, and we empathize because there's nothing worse for a football fan to go through than some political bullshit that sees your team punished.
Yeah,
on the
messing with your team, man.
Yeah. Okay, Luca.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about Leao. A lot of people will say, you know, he's on a dry spell. He had a great fucking game.
He had a super game.
He was so good, man. He was so good. And you know what? Fuck you. He was so good against Bologna as well.
He's doing what he does best, eh? Unfortunately, when it comes to... Remember that stat we had read out a few episodes ago where we compared the wingers who have...
Yeah. With
Leao, with their XGs, exactly. Chiesa. So exactly, Leao, Guevara and Chiesa play closer to goal, while Leao was more of an XA kind of guy, an expected assists kind of guy. Leao, as I'm tired of saying, excels at taking the ball to the byline and finding a teammate or cutting inside and placing it into the bottom corner without having to put himself in a complicated position to shoot, because in those situations he does not thrive. I've never seen Leao score a curler from out of the area, for example, like Guevara did. However, I've never seen Guevara take the ball and obliterate 3 men and take it to the byline and just look like he's a totally different species to them. He's more of a close kind of quarters dribbler.
Yeah.
But yes, Leao has his strengths and he's playing to them. I regret taking him on Fantacalcio, definitely, because he's not really that prolific goal scoring.
And you spent on him, bro.
Oh yeah, man, 300 and something credits.
Like 370 credits.
Yeah. Out of 1,000.
No joke. Yeah. PSG are like, they want him. PSG are losing Mbappe, right? So they're looking to fill in that left wing slot. Now, apparently, according to sources that aren't so reliable, Leao considers the 5-year mark of his time as Milan as time to move on. That's what certain reports are saying. Again, reports that are not so reliable. However, apparently doesn't seem too interested in the French league, probably because the French league is shit, and he's interested more in the Premier League and La Liga.
Which is a good thing, because I think Real Madrid are set.
Real are set.
Barca aren't as attractive a destination as they once were. I mean, they would.
But their sponsor is Spotify. I bet Leao loves that, man.
Yeah, you could be like, oh my god, when worlds collide, my rap career, look, ideally doesn't leave, but
well,
at the
if
end
he
of the
does,
day, if he does, it's
175 million.
That's his clause.
Smackaroonies, bro.
That's pretty good, man. If he leaves, hopefully Milan will reinvest and solidify and really fix the holes that there are in the team. However, it is difficult to replace a player like Leao, because I think I would safely say that unless you bring in Mbappe, you cannot. Mbappe or Vini, you can't replace Leao otherwise.
Yeah.
Because he's top 3 with those guys when it comes to raw ability on the ball, when it comes to that just ability to just terrorize that left flank. Not many people can do it. He has authority on that left flank, man.
You know who's really coming through? I tell you, he's the fastest player that I have ever seen in my fucking life. Mudryk of Chelsea. He's starting to play better now.
After that goal against Malta, the fucker.
The fucking bastard. It's a second season in the Prem now, and things are a little bit more settled, I guess.
Okay.
Well,
he's still a youngster, no, Mudryk? How old is he?
23. I think he might be even younger. Let me just fact check. I don't know why. Like, I had to fact check Mudryk's age on a Serie A podcast, but I got it, bro. 23 years old.
Never doubt yourself.
Yeah. Just a couple more points and then we'll move on. I think Milan's worst performers in this game, and a big reason as to why Milan struggled in this game, were Reinders and Loftus-Cheek. I think Reinders and Loftus-Cheek left a lot to be desired. They've each been insane for Milan this season. However, this was a bit of an off game for them, particularly when it comes to, losing the ball, because there was a very high amount of press on them. And this is something purely said about Milan, which is Milan's style of play. In case no one knows what Milan's style of play is, in case you can't put your finger on it, Milan have a controlling style of play. Milan like to have the ball. Juve don't, Roma didn't. Milan love having the ball. What happens when Milan don't have the ball? When Milan don't have the ball, they are bad. And purely said, we cannot be a good team off the ball. I don't know what he means by that, but he said, I doubt we can be a good team off the ball. But that is what Frosinone managed to do, no? They managed to win the ball off Milan and attack Milan.
Yeah. I mean, probably the lack of physical presence in midfield, apart from Loftus-Cheek, who's playing in the pocket behind the striker, and the fact that you have an aging centre back and a plug centre back. That's it, right? That's it. Off the ball, you are definitely going to struggle. One thing I want to mention, bro, before we do move on, is the heat map. If you have time, go on SofaScore, guys, and open the heat map of Milan from this game, and you'll notice a 2-6-2 formation. You'll notice that Gabbia and Kier sit alone as the bottom two, of course, and that Loftus-Cheek plays slightly left of the center circle, while Adli and Reinders both played close together in that center circle. Theo was out on the left and Calabria out on the right, and playing right next to Calabria, playing off of him, was Pulisic in a slightly deeper position. Giroud was the most advanced number 9, and Leao out on the left as an advanced
in space.
10 in space. And this is kind of like what transitions into that weird formation that we always address now, where you have a front line of 5 or whatever. But this game I thought that the system was pretty promising, at least.
Yeah, it was okay. Obviously, shout out to Frosinone for putting up an amazing fight against a top quality team. Shout out to Gabbia, amazing stuff, getting his second goal for Milan after his return his first goal since his return, but his second goal ever for Milan. And Luka Jovic, one of the I love clutch players. Jovic is just that clutch player.
He's won me over, bro. Now, if you go back a few episodes, you'll hear me shitting on him.
Yeah. But he's amazing. I love him. I love Jovic.
Yeah.
I love him so much, like, kind of thing.
The thing about Jovic that I like, man, is you take him out of the box and you see what type of player he is.
Exactly.
You put him in the box like Fiorentina did, and you just work to feed him all day. You're not going to see what type of player he is, man. You take him out of the box and you try to include him in some fluid build-up play, then you'll see the real Jovic, man. Yeah. And he is a joy to watch, honestly.
But you know what? Giroud, starter, Jovic coming on and doing what he does. That is the best way Milan can set up, in my opinion.
It's hard to argue with that, with the numbers, man, that Giroud is on. Giroud
11
is on 11
goals,
goals and 8 assists this season. Are you mental?
He's great. Jake, I always tell you, Giroud is the perfect striker for Milan.
Yes.
He's the perfect striker for Milan.
Yes.
And now at least there's that depth and there's a competitor.
That's what Milan needed.
Yes.
That's what Giroud needed, because he can't be the sole striker. But yeah.
Milan, third place, 49 points. Now just 4 points behind Juve. Milan are going to be keeping the pressure up on Juve over there. That is their goal, and obviously get as close to Inter as they can. But it has been a good run for Milan. You look at Frosinone, on the other hand, they are on 23 points in 23 matches in 14th place, flirting with that relegation zone. They are only 5 points above Cagliari in 18th.
Speaking of relegation zone, Hellas Verona took on Napoli at the Maradona.
That's mean.
And lost 2-1. Not without a lack of trying, though. So Gollini was in goal for Napoli in the 4-3-3 formation, the part-time goalkeeper, full-time rapper. Di Lorenzo was out on the right, Mario Rui was out on the left, with a centre-back partnership of Rahmani and Juan Jesus. Anguissa, Lobotka and Caiusta were the midfield three, with Politano, Simeone and Kvaratskhelia leading the charge. As you'll notice, Kvaratskhelia and Caiusta are back from injury after getting an accumulation of yellow cards in a rather silly way.
Yeah, back from suspension.
Back from suspension, yes.
Yes, you said back from injury. It's fine.
Yeah, suspension. Spanish. Montepò was in goal for Hellas Verona,
the Octopus,
who played a 4-2-3-1 formation. Chachua was out on the right. Yes, bless you. Cabal was out on the left, and Davidovic and Coppola formed the defensive partnership. Serdar and Duda were in the midfield too.
It's funny because you know how we say Duda means penis in Maltese.
Yeah.
Serda without the S. What is it, Drake?
It means suck. Suck.
Erda Duda means suck a willy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Erda Duda was the midfield double pivot, with Lazovic out on the left and Folorunsho out on the right, with Suslov playing behind new boy Tiani Noslin. Now, by the way, brother, am I gassed? Not for Tiani Noslin, but for Karel Zviderski, by the way, who's joined from the MLS. He's the type of striker who's scored wherever he's been. He's got 20 goals for the Polish national team, and he's been snapped up by Hellas Verona. If any of you have your repair auction on Fantacalcio, I do recommend this guy. I think he'll get maybe 4 or 5 goals till the end of the season for Hellas Verona. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely more excited for him than I am about Tiani Noslin. So, Napoli came off a game where they only took one shot on target. And this game was a completely different story because Kvaratskhelia from the get-go started testing the goalkeeper from all sorts of different angles. It was all him. He challenged Montepò on multiple occasions. He had a strong claim for a penalty in the first half as well, which, to be honest, I think should have maybe been looked at. Verona were quiet in the first half, but Lazovic's squandered chance just before halftime was quite a bad one. Verona started the second half strongly, with Coppola and Lazovic creating opportunities. Simeone's attempt was well saved by Montepò, keeping Napoli fans anxious. Verona took the lead with an unexpected breakthrough as Coppola's shoulder connected with Suslov's free kick. It was a weird goal. At first I thought he scored with his arm, then I thought he scored with his back, then I noticed he scored with his shoulder.
Yeah, he was going for a header.
Yeah, full on.
The boy from Verona!
That's the Coppola. I love when commentators get gassed for young players.
Yeah.
Napoli swiftly responded. This time it was, of course, Il Ruolo dell'Ex that was exercised. Cyril Ngonge, or as they started calling him nowadays, Ngonge.
They just switched up on us. Like, before they were calling him Ngonge, so we called him Ngonge. Now they're calling him Ngonge, and I'm kind of married to Ngonge.
I like Ngonge. Cyril Ngonge.
But Ngonge, a completely different dude here.
Ngonge, yeah. This goal eventually did go down as a Davidovic own goal, so it's not quite Ngonge's first Serie A goal for Napoli yet. Do you think it's fair for that to go down as an own goal?
No, I don't think so. I think that this could have been Ngonj's goal. It was helped over the line. It was. I believe it was going in. I think
it was going on target, right?
Yeah. I thought it was a bit harsh.
Yeah, it's always random when they decide that.
Now, the Zirkzee one was probably going off target, so I get it.
Yeah. Just before Ngonj's equalizer, there was a fantastic double save by Montepò on Lindstrom and Mazzocchi. Lindstrom really changed the game around when he came on. He was brilliant.
It was so good.
Simeone missed a one-on-one from a tight angle shortly after and attempted to chip Montepò on the rebound, but failed to challenge the goalkeeper or hit the target. Kvaratskhelia then delivered his moment of magic with a stunning curler, securing 3 crucial points for Napoli in the European race. For Verona, of course, the loss extends their winless away streak to 11 matches, keeping them in the relegation zone. The match showcased Napoli's resilience and Kvaratskelia's impact as one of the best players in the league, while Verona will, of course, regret the missed opportunities they had that could have shifted their fortunes. For me, apart from Kvaratskhelia really stamping his authority and letting us know that Napoli can't do shit without him, Lindstrom looked super promising to me, and I think having Lindstrom and Ngonj offers Napoli some good solutions off the bench.
Yeah, I think so. It was the first time we saw him really insert himself in the manner in which he did. But he was very, very involved. He was always on the ball, man. And you know what? Even Mazzocchi, when he came on, was quite involved, getting in those dangerous areas. As Napoli were attacking, he's a good little player to bring on over there. A guy I would like to highlight, and you know me, I love a good goalkeeper, man. I thought Montepò was phenomenal in this game. Montepò, last season, he was the keeper with the most saves in the league. And okay, it's probably because Verona concede a lot of shots. But he has, and I've always said, he is a very good keeper. He's one of the good ones in the league. Now, of course, sometimes he makes the odd error, but I really, really like Lorenzo Montepò.
Then you should ask him out, man. You never know. Maybe the feeling's mutual.
Send him a DM or something.
Yeah.
He's only a year older than me.
I really like you.
He's really... Lorenzo, I really fucking like you, man. Anyway.
Those eyes, the trim.
The hands. God, the hands.
Yeah. Napoli are whatever. Napoli are 7th in the league with 35 points. They're 1 point off of Bologna and 6th, while Hellas Verona are actually in 17th. Of course, Cagliari did not get anything against Roma, and they conceded 4 goals, so they're now down in 18th. Verona are in 17th with 18 points. So scrap what I said about them being in the relegation pool. They're currently out of it thanks to goal difference.
Yeah. Let's do Atalanta 3, Lazio 1. Atalanta were coming off a 2-0 victory against Udinese, whilst Lazio were coming off a very boring 0-0 home draw to Napoli, which you made reference to as well. The previous encounter was a 3-2 home victory for Lazio. Now, this was, in fact, a head-to-head encounter for 4th place, though both teams also have a game in hand. Cope Miners, Hien and Palomino were injured, with Lukman at the African Cup of Nations. The visitors had Immobile, back from a ban, but missed Zaccagni, Patrick and the suspended Danilo Cataldi. Atalanta have won 37 of their 111 matches against Lazio in Serie A. Only against Bologna have they achieved more successes in their history in the top flight. Lazio were, however, unbeaten in 5 of their last 6 matches against Atalanta in Serie A, after having failed to win any of their previous 7 matches against Ladea in the competition. Now, it was a 3-4-1-2 formation for Atalanta with Carnesecchi in goal and a backline of Kolasinac, Jim City and Scalvini. Ruggeri was on the left, Home was on the right, and Dejon and Edison formed the midfield too, with Pasalic playing just behind Miranchuk and De Ketelare. 4-3-3 for Sarri's Lazio, Provedel in goal and a backline of Lazzari, Gila, Romagnoli and Marsic, a midfield 3 of Guendouzi, Rovella and Alberto, and a front 3 of Isaacson, Castellanos and Felipe Anderson. Now, Kolasinac got very close to opening the scoring in the 14th minute after his header following a Miranchuk cross forced a good stop from Ivan Provedel, and then the scoring was opened in the 15th minute by Pasalic, CDK's cross to Scalvini was intelligently redirected to Pasalic, who controlled the ball on his chest and volleyed the ball into the back of the net in an acrobatic manner. Great build-up, great finish. That is what football is all about. In the 42nd minute, CDK won and converted a penalty. He sent Provedel the wrong way from the spot, and the penalty was awarded after a handball by Marisic. Still in the first half, in the 46th minute, Atalanta almost made it 3 before the break as Holmes' header hit the crossbar following another brilliant cross by Miranchuk. Again, Atalanta almost made it 3 in the 60th minute after another great attacking move, which ended with a brilliant save by Provedel, denying Miranchuk a simple finish after a great and powerful square ball by Pasalic. In the 75th minute, CDK got his second of the night. Can we call him a wonder kid from now on, CDK? I guess so.
Wonder kid? Would he be a kid?
Yeah, he's young, CDK.
But he's
a
no
young
teenager.
buck.
No, he's 22 years old. Yeah,
He's
he
a
could
young
be a wonder
buck.
kid.
He cut into the box from a wide position and surprised everyone, including Ivan Provedel, by opting for an early low strike into the near corner. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant stuff there by Charles de Ketelare, who was on fire in this game. In the 83rd minute, Ciro Immobile converted a penalty after winning it in order to get a consolation goal, essentially, for Lazio.
Yeah, Gym City giving that one away over there.
Yeah, Gym City, yeah, that ruthless, silly kick by Gym City.
Very silly to really affect his rating on my Fantacalcio negatively.
Yeah, of course,
But
of course.
CDK as the spearhead. Look at the heat map. Look at him all the way up there in the box. 17.
Christ.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. You look at the midfield is completely flat pretty much. And then Miranchuk is just connecting play to
That's literally
CDK.
it. That's literally
That's why.
it.
Then you have Berat Gym City literally as the last man.
Yeah.
That's such a cool system. And then you look at Lazio. Lazio literally tried to attack through the middle with Castellanos and Felipe Anderson playing together, trying to charge down the middle. And of course, they were pretty much pinned back as the highest player was in the center circle. The highest pushing player's average position was the center circle.
No,
So-
I guess they'd typically be wider when Zaccagni is on the pitch. I guess so.
Yes, I think what they did here is they tried to attack Atalanta down the middle simply because they're so strong out wide at the moment and overloading those flanks. You know,
Yeah.
they're so good at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I thought Atalanta absolutely destroyed
I agree.
Lazio. I
I
thought
agree.
they were better in every single fucking area, in every single duel. I think that Lazio are a bit of a step behind this season.
I agree, yes. Atalanta looked like a well-oiled machine. They looked so organized and so ruthless, man, against Lazio. Literally pinning them back and they forcing them to do nothing all game. They had one shot on target and I'm pretty sure that was the penalty, no?
Perhaps, probably.
While you look at Atalanta, they had 19 shots. They were peppering the goal. 5 of them on target, of course. But 5 on target and 3 goals is impressive in itself.
For sure. I think obviously we have to talk about De Ketelare. I know we mentioned him, I think 3 times already in this podcast. But fuck it, he is the star of the week, CDK. Just a brilliant all-round performance. And I think maybe this is his position. We've often spoken about the system that he's playing and suiting his play style more. I think so. At Milan, he was often played as an attacking midfielder, as a trequartista rather, and sometimes popped in as a lone striker. Sometimes, and I think a 2 up top and CDK being one of them, that must be his best position because he can drift slightly wide while still having the technical ability to play in the tight spaces and to link up play in the middle of the pitch. And because he's got very smart teammates, he's always got someone to pick out, man.
Yeah. Fair to say, of course. Seeing as the success he's found in his career has come literally from that position. I believe he was a striker at Bruges as well.
I believe so.
When he was bought, because that was one of the things people used to say when he would play as a trequartista for Milan, that wasn't his position at Bruges. Who would have thought? Play him in his position and he would do better.
When in Bruges, right?
When in Bruges. Yes, I'm totally impressed by this guy. However, as a striker, your mental strength is very important. And CDK has proven that when it's not going his way, it's devastating. Now, I don't know if that's because he was 21 years old, or I don't know if that's something that we'll be seeing throughout his career, but I really do hope that that's something he overcomes, because as a striker, if you're going to make it all the way to the top, being ruthless will be the difference between becoming Benzema or becoming Higuain. You know what I mean? Like they were on a similar level at their best, Higuain and Benzema. Higuain just had that block, that confidence block, that issue when it came to finishing, especially in big moments and big games when the pressure was on.
It's a momentum game with strikers like that. It's either 38 goals a season or it's fucking 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine in a world. Okay, so obviously Atalanta have the option to buy CDK for 25 million, correct? Now imagine Atalanta are like, you know what? He's been great. 25 million is a lot of money, and would rather invest it elsewhere. Let's imagine a world where Atalanta would not extend or not exercise their option to buy CDK, and he ends up back at Milan. Who's that? Conte. Come in. 3-5-2. CDK up top. Boom.
That sounds nice in theory, but you know, I'm pretty sure Atalanta have already made it very clear that they're going to exercise the option.
Absolutely.
It's 25 million for them is looking like a steal right now.
Yeah. Imagine Leao leaves, you know, he goes to PSG and Milan get Charles back and they opt for a 3-5-2 on their Conte. I don't know. Just you know.
That sounds
weird.
I'm feeling a bit sick, bro, to be honest with you right now.
Conte as our manager and the Kate Lara.
And Leao gone.
No, crazy stuff. Miranchuk is a player I really want to highlight because, as you said, he links play to the attacking end seamlessly. It's weird, this comparison that I'm about to make, but on the ball, with the ball at his feet, his style and his technique reminds me so much of Modric. I'm not even kidding you.
Is it the close ball control and the ability to shift?
Exactly. Very well put. And it's also the inability to lose the ball. I draw that comparison and I'm not kidding around.
Except when he loses the ball, Miranchuk doesn't even move, you know. Modric will go running for it.
Modric is a harder working player, but obviously not drawing comparison between Ballon d'Or winning fucking Luka Modric, World Cup finalist Luka Modric, and, you know, Miranchuk.
Yeah.
But the technique, I really see similarities.
Fair enough. I mean, it's fine to say that, you know, they have they look similar. There's a similar. It reminds you of it, you know. I mean, there were moments where people would say that Gurkov reminded them of fucking Kaká. You remember that shit? You know, I mean, Gurkov's nowhere near Kaká, but maybe certain movement reminded people of a certain player, you know. Yeah, that's perfect to find. You know, Leao reminds people of Thierry Henry. Leao has a long way to go before he's at the level Thierry Henry was, but there's something there.
Thank you for standing up for me.
You're welcome,
on our podcast, brother. I suddenly feel much more confident doing this.
That's great, man. That's
great.
Don't worry, I'll deal with the hate, bro.
But Miranchuk is amazing, and they are stacked in that area, and I find it weird that they let him go to Torino last season for a season-long loan, because they had also removed Malinovsky that season. And I feel like, I don't know, man, maybe if they had Miranchuk, they would have had a fucking better season last season.
They could have definitely used him, but one thing about Miranchuk was he's never been this consistent ever since coming back from consistent playing time at Torino. His Torino spell was very successful, you know. He scored 4 goals over there. He had a really good season. He played 29 games. He was very good for them. Consistent. I think that was the first time since his Moscow days, his Lokomotiv Moscow days, that he actually had a full season being an important player. At Atalanta was always a fringe player, you know. He spent 2 years kind of on and off. But nice to see that he's developed, and He's 28 years old. He's not as young as you would think he is.
Wow, he ain't no spring chicken at 28
not.
years
and
old.
it is complicated when you send out a guy on loan at 27, but I think this is one of those cases where it worked out well.
Mm-hmm. You know what Nanna May told me at lunch the other day, bro? She's
You won't believe what she told me, but go on.
She was like, how old are you gonna be, Matt? My birthday is at the end of February. It's my lucky birthday in exactly 20 days. I told her I'm gonna be 27 now, and she's like, 27? It's like, you are not a teenager, huh? Like, don't think you're a teenager anymore. I'm like, thanks, Nana, you fucking bitch. Very, very nice of you to say. What are you, 74? Like, relax.
Why were you acting in a rascally way?
You were there. I was fine. I was sitting down eating my avocado toast. Like, you know what I mean?
Don't act like no teenager.
It's like,
You're way past your prime, huh?
But anyway, enough about Nanna Mer. Before we discuss Lazio and where perhaps they are struggling a little bit, I do want to point out some sad news that we've heard. Muriel apparently linked to a move to America.
He's gone. It's done.
It's done?
It's done. He's gone.
America. He's off to America.
Luis Muriel in America?
Yes.
Yes, it's a natural trajectory for this player, right? I mean, Muriel has never been the epitome of peak footballing fitness, and peak physical level. He's a player who we kind of knew that wouldn't have longevity to his name.
Yeah, and I think maybe a season or two in the MLS, followed by a return to Colombia to play for his boyhood club or something of the sort. And he can hang up his boots. He's had a good career. At least he was very highly rated on Serie A Spotlight, and we
absolutely one of our favorites.
You know how we said that you can draw comparison through a play style.
Here it comes. 3, 2, 1. El Fenomeno.
Yeah, yes, Ronaldo El Fenomeno.
Yes, absolutely, man. And this isn't only us, I mean, of course, this is a comparison that has been made many times by many people. It's the way he moves, the way he rounds the goalkeeper,
the way he moves, like a ballet dancer,
the way he bounces the fucking he does this bounce shot thing off the ground.
He make that booty pop as well, bro.
He does, man. He does.
Make that booty pop.
He's thick. Muriel was incredible.
Just a small kind of note on Lazio. They're in a massive transition phase, and it's no wonder that they do tend to struggle in these scenarios. You look at this team, this is very different to the squad that they had last year, bro. Okay, Provedel was there, Lazzari, Romagnoli, Marisic, Alberto, Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are different, dog. They've got Gila, they've got their midfield is Guendouzi and Rovella alongside Luis Alberto. They've got Isaacson and Tati Castellanos again, and I know I've exhausted this point, but they lost Sergei, who was their guy, their star, their fucking star, and Ciro Immobile. He's not the player that he used to be. He's showing, perhaps finally showing his age, and he's looking like Italy's Immobile rather than Lazio's heroic Immobile. And remember all the stats of how many goals these two players have scored in combinations, like assisting each other, finishing off each other's assists, so on and so forth. And we know that Lazio last season and the season before, they were a very attacking side, getting you all of these goals because they were capable of utilising those two players as their main outlet. And if not, there's Anderson. And if not, there's Zaccagni. And if not, there's Luis Alberto. And there's always Immobile being a poacher inside the box. And they had their ways to get goals. Now, Tati Castellanos, Isaacson to his right, and Guendouzi, Rovella behind him. It's not bad, but it's a transition.
It's a transitional season for Lazio,
which sucks.
It sucks because they don't have any guarantees that Sarri will be there next season. Felipe Anderson is apparently joining Juve. He'll be going as a free agent. Luis Alberto is approaching the latter stages of his career, and he's 31 years old. You know, a move is now or never for him if he wants to have a new experience.
Luis Alberto. I'm surprised he hasn't mentioned it yet.
Yeah, honestly, like, so you risk the transitional year being just a wasted year, and next year being the transitional year, you know? It'd be hard to keep this group together without European football. So let's hope they get their shit together and that they start to play more consistently and get these wins up, because honestly it's going to be difficult for them to maintain consistency going into next season.
Yeah.
They had a point where they seemed to have things figured out, Lazio. They had a terrible start. They recovered and they went on the streak. But now it seems
no, look, they'll fight for Europa. They'll fight for Champions League, but they'll probably make Europa or Conference. They're still in the mix, but it's just before the draw to Napoli and the loss in this, they were doing quite well. They were on a winning streak. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5 game winning streak.
There you go.
Lecce, Roma, Udinese, Frosinone, and Empoli.
Roma was in the Coppa.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Brother, Iron Maiden said it best.
What was that?
So, understand, the wasted times always searching for those wasted years. Lazio find themselves in 9th on 34 points, whilst Atalanta find themselves in 4th on 39 points. They have a game in hand, and if they win that, then there'll still be a bunch of points behind Milan, but game in hand. Woo!
Delicious. Roma took on Cagliari.
It's against Inter, so take that claim that they might win it lightly.
Roma took on Cagliari at home and smashed them 4-0, brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe to say that they absolutely annihilated them. I can't use the adjectives that I want to use to describe what Roma did to Cagliari. Let's just say that the Cagliari players must have taken a very long shower after this game.
I think Roma performed every possible form of assault on Cagliari. Every single one.
Yeah. And this is interesting. And the Rossi's Roma. It could have gone terribly wrong, you know. This is the important thing about bringing in a new man when the fixture list is kind of easy.
Exactly.
You know, not easy, just less demanding. Because Mazzarri came in and the games he had to take on ahead of him was just wow, you know, that's a baptism of fire if I've ever seen one in my life. But, you know, De Rossi came into Roma and he had to play 3 teams who are bottom tier. So that was good for him to get some confidence in the team as well. You know, the way they're playing, these guys. It's a counter-attacking force.
The commentator coming into the game was like, to be honest, like, if Roma drop points over here, I'm really not going to be surprised. I watched their game against Salernitana and I thought they were awful, especially this Sharawi guy.
The commentator. I thought you were saying me, because I played money on a fucking Cagliari or draw and both teams to score on this one.
But then the commentator couldn't believe what he was seeing. He's like, why is El Sharawi good? Why are Roma doing this? Like, why do they look so good?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen El Sharawi play like this since he was a freaking teenager at Milan.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Since he had that very, very, very spiky mohawk that you could chop a tree down with.
The got to be glued mohawk with the line. How many times I've asked for that in my life. So Lorenzo's lineups actually. Yes. I was gonna go straight into the action. So
don't forget Jesse Pinkman as the left back for.
Don't worry,
Roma.
brother. Of course, for Roma it was a 4-3-3 formation with Rui Patricio in goal, Karsdorp on the right, Jesse Pinkman on the left, with Mancini and Llorente at the back. If you're wondering who the hell is Jesse Pinkman, that's their new boy Angelino.
He's got the little on the end.
Like Gelardinho.
2 seasons ago, I was 84. What happened? I lose a leg or something? I lose a leg or what?
Angelino, brother. First of all, he wears the number 69 on his kit. So, respect, automatically.
Yes, definitely. Him and Drangowski, ballers.
Yes. Second of all, I've been a fan of this guy. Seeing him sporadically in the Champions League with Leipzig, I've always thought Angelino was a good, hard-working, industrious, skillful...
Much like Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, much like Jesse Pinkman, yeah. He's a great fullback, and he showed that in his first game, to be honest. He demonstrated it immediately. Pellegrini, Paredes and Cristante were in the midfield with Dybala, Lukaku and El Shaarawy playing up front in his 4-3-3 system. Ranieri went with a 3-5-2 formation, starting with Scouffet in goal, Obert, Mina and Dos Sena at the back.
I know Mina was at Cagliari when this game started? No.
Really?
I found out during the lineup. So I was like, there's Yerry Mina.
I found out because his bar on my Fantacalcio went to green, and it's never green. I'm like, what the hell, Fiorentina are starting Mina? I went to check, and it's like, Mina, Cagliari. I'm like, what? But yeah, he got beaten in the air by Huis in this game, so... Let's see, we can see why he's been sent out on loan. Yeah. Azzi was out on the left, Zappa on the right, Nandes, Prati and Makumbu were in the middle with Lapadula and Petagna as the not-so-formidable striking partnership. So Lorenzo Pellegrini's early goal set the tone after Petagna spilled the ball into his path after a corner, followed by Angelino whipping in a delicious ball to Cristante, who struck the post. Dybala's well-worked effort on the penalty conversion after the break made sure it was 3-0 for Roma, and then teenager Dean Huijsen, who's currently on loan from Juventus, added to the tally with a towering header from Paredes' corner. Cagliari are on a 16-game winless away run and they struggle to make an impact. They missed their chances and VAR overturned the penalty. Dybala had opportunities for a hat-trick while Lukaku's efforts were denied. The result places Cagliari back into the relegation zone after their heaviest defeat of the season, while Roma, unbeaten in the last 9 head-to-head encounters, rise to 5th.
So I hate to say this. I have their kit. I really like them. I love Sardinia. I love the current setup of the team. I love Ranieri. Cagliari, through no fault of their setup, of their management or whatever, they are very, very, very limited when it comes to quality players. Very limited when it comes to quality players.
Especially because Luvumbo's been away at AFCON. Because with Luvumbo on the side, especially coming on in the second half,
they could be pragmatic and then break through.
Exactly. And you know what, man? Having Luvumbo and Viola, and Makumbu, let's include Makumbu as well. It gives you a little bit of quality, just a splash, a dollop of quality.
Oristanio's out injured, Shomorodov is out injured, so is Rog.
Yeah. It's not really going well for them. But I don't understand this idea of playing Lapadula and Petagna together up front against Roma. What's the plan here? You know, go for a more mobile team, go for a counter-attacking team. You're playing two essentially target men.
Yeah.
Two target men up front.
But essentially, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and in fact, when Luvumbo eventually did come on, now granted, I know that they couldn't have given him more time in this game because he'd just come back from AFCON, and you would have thought, by the way, he came back from Ibiza, bro. Bro came back blonde, you know, but he looks as good as ever after his experience with Angola.
It makes me laugh, just like the decision to get this hair dyed. It's like, go to the African Cup of Nations, and then before I go to continue to play for Cagliari in Serie A, I'll get a quick, I'll just get my hair dyed blonde, and then go back. Like,
unless you really wanted to stand out, you know, at the tournament. I'm sure he had it for the tournament.
Perhaps.
For sure. Yeah, Roma's next game will be very telling as it is against Inter, so we'll see what De Rossi's made of. Let's see if he's really got that spunk or if he's just been bullying kids in the playground. Cagliari, of course, are in a little bit of a tough situation right now. We'll see how they can do to recover. The relegation battle is getting tighter and tighter, and I am seriously concerned about some of these teams that I love, because I'm looking down there and I'm like, these guys aren't all terrible, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Hellas Verona are the ones who've really moved many of their good players on, so you think that they're automatically candidates. You think that Udinese and Sassuolo simply out of pedigree, and because of the fact that they've been in Serie A for so long and they have so many quality players, you think they're safe. That doesn't leave many teams to get relegated, man. You look at Lecce and Monza as well. They've been playing well. Genoa have been playing well. That literally leaves, let's say, Verona and then 2 of Cagliari, Empoli, and Salernitana. And Empoli have been playing much better than the other 2. So
I'm not
perhaps
gonna
Cagliari
say-
and Salernitana.
I'm not going to say anyone is safe.
Definitely
But
not.
I wouldn't count Genoa and Monza as part of the conversation. I think 13th down, they are all part of the conversation.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm talking Verona, Udinese, Sassuolo, Frosinone, Lecce, all part of the conversation.
34 points, you're safe. And Genoa and Monza are on 29.
Empoli got relegated with 34 points once upon a time
Was
in a
it
piece
34?
of cherry wood, something like that.
Okay. Let's say high 30s, you're usually safe.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's literally fucking 10 more points for Genoa and Monza. And they're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can definitely do that. As per the standings, Genoa, not Genoa, we're just talking about Genoa. Cagliari are in 18th with 18 points, while Roma have climbed to 5th with 38 points.
Lecce 3, Fiorentina 2, finally, probably the best game of Matchday 23. Brother, what a game it was.
What a game, a Friday night thriller.
Brother, and were we thrilled. Lecce were coming off a 2-1 loss to Genoa, whilst Fiorentina were coming off a 1-0 home loss to Inter. The previous encounter was a 2-2 draw between these two sides, so Fiorentina have failed to beat Lecce this season. How funny is that? No significant injuries for either side, but breaking news, in case we haven't mentioned it, Strefezza to Como done. He is no longer part of the Lecce team. The guy was a staple for them. He will be remembered in Lecce, especially for his season last season, where Lecce had just come back up and he was shaking that booty and dribbling those players. He looked really good. It was a 4-2-3-1 formation for Lecce. It was Falcone in goal and the backline of Gallo, Baschirotto, Pongracic and Gendré. It was Blin and Kaba as the double pivot, with Banda on the left, Almqvist on the right, and Udon playing behind Kristovic. It was also a 4-2-3-1 for Fiorentina. Terracciano in goal and the backline of Faraoni, Martinez, Ranieri, and Biraghi. When I say Martinez, naturally it's Martinez Quarta. Madonna, I always make this mistake. Maxime Lopez started in the double pivot alongside Duncan. Inzola was on the right, Sotil was on the left, and Bonaventura played behind Beltran. Now, chaos ensued in the 10th minute as Kaba struck the post with a powerful header and Terracciano denied a follow-up attempt by Almqvist. In the 17th minute, Lecce opened the scoring through an Udon free kick. It was a very close-range free kick that went through the wall and into the bottom corner. Still a good goal, but the wall was absolutely atrocious. It was Sotil who moved his lower body out of the way for some fucking unknown reason. Bonaventura didn't stand too firm either, kind of went a bit to the left, but it was all Sotil, the way he raised his knees up to his chest and turned to the side like...
Yeah, he jumped up and did a split midair.
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be so straight to the point. If you're a pussy, you can't be in a wall. You can't be in a wall if you're a pussy. Because if you're gonna jump...
Quickly, give me 5 players in the league who should never be in the wall. By
God, last season would have been so much easier because the first 2 that came... Okay, so Banda, because he's 5'1".
Yeah, it's 5'3", and I agree Banda should never be in the wall.
Sotil, clearly, should never be in a wall again.
Should CDK be in the wall?
I think CDK can be in a
He's
wall.
got size
He's
on
tall,
him.
he's tall.
Yeah. But is he brave? That's the question.
Probably not. We've seen him roar. It's not the most intimidating thing ever. Who else shouldn't be in a wall? I like this question. I'm going to say Dybala and Chiesa, because if they jump too high, they risk injury. The both of them.
I have a dream wall, bro.
You have a dream wall?
Dream wall.
I haven't said my 5th one. Well, to be honest, say that because I don't have my 5th one yet.
Simeon Wankwo, Lucca, Yerimina, Baschirotto.
My God,
that's my dream
formidable wall.
Yeah. The great wall of Serie A, I'd call that.
That is a great wall, to be honest.
And then Vanya in goal.
Oh my God, Vanya should be in the wall. I can't think of a 5th one, but I'm going to go for Barella, because he also gets hurt very frequently, and if he gets hit by a ball, then he might spend 10 minutes rolling around on the floor. So, yeah.
I wouldn't want my most in ideal, my most unideal wall would be like Guendouzi and Zirkzee and all these Afro having players. The ball just fly through them like out of the fucking bushes. Yeah.
Well, that was Udon opening the scoring in the 17th minute, and it's good to mention that before this, Lecce had hit the post, as I mentioned earlier, but went off a bit of a tangent. Moments later, the 26th minute, it was all Lecce at this point. They were at it again when Kristovic hit the post when striking on the turn after a quick counter-attack. So Lecce entered the second half with a 1-0 advantage. However, in the 50th minute, Mandragora managed to get an equaliser for Fiorentina. The substitute came on along with Belotti to try find a goal, but it was the midfielder that managed after striking on the bounce from outside the area after collecting a defensive clearance. It was a magnificent, powerful, low strike that was a contender for a goal of the week. In the 63rd minute, Banda failed to score past Terracciano when clean through on goal. He found himself in such a position after Milenkovic failed to control the ball at the back, totally fumbled it and obviously couldn't catch up with Banda once he got hold of the ball. 67th minute, Beltran made it 2-1 for Fiorentina. The Argentine intercepted a horribly dangerous pass by Falcone. And, just one touch and he guides it into the back of the net. Horrible stuff by the keeper. Just never play that kind of pass. Dreadful stuff, but great press by Beltran over there to put pressure on the keeper and to force the error out of him.
Absolutely.
Belotti almost opened his account for Fiorentina in the 87th minute for his very Belotti-esque volley to strike the woodwork. A Belotti-esque volley is a very scrappy, hard-working volley that ends up being quite dangerous. If you watch Belotti, then you know exactly what I mean.
The kind of volley that your mouth's wide open while you're doing
it. He made, the form isn't great, but he should have never gotten to it, but he got to it.
You're hunched over, kind of leg in the air. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Belotti always looks uncomfortable, doesn't he? He just always looks like he's freezing, bro. He always looks like he's freezing.
That's interestingly put, yes, I see it.
Thank you. 90th minute. Lecce get an equaliser. It's fucking Piccoli. It was a free kick cross by Sansone that was meant to be headed away by Nzola, but instead perfectly guided to Piccoli, who rose the highest and headed in very well. I've never seen anything like that. Like Nzola. I've never seen someone try to clear a ball and he puts it on a plate for someone else.
It's just next level, eh? I bet you Fiorentina fans kind of wish that Nzola had gone to AFCON.
Yeah, bro. So true. I don't know why I get the feeling that Nzola will end up in Turkey. I think he'll like it.
He's got that vibe about him. Roberto Piccoli's on 5 goals this season.
Yes, he is. I have an argument to make with you about how he should be starting ahead of Kristovic. 92nd minute. You'd think that Lecce are busy celebrating their equaliser to get a great point against Fiorentina where they expected to get nothing but absolute scenes. Dorgu with the winner. He smashed the ball into the top corner after Terracciano saved Kristovic's strike well. 2 goals in 2 minutes. He's off celebrating, going crazy with the fans. Just immaculate stuff. I really didn't think Lecce would get anything out of this game, but they got away with all 3 points. What did you make of it, bro? Why did Fiorentina struggle so much in this game?
So Lecce came into this game ready. They were totally ready to take on Fiorentina and to really push for something more than perhaps a draw this game. I really liked the approach with the high aggressive press, and it turns out that the substitutes were bang on as well by, what's his name? His name escapes me right now, brother.
Lecce's manager.
Yes, D'Aversa. Thank you very much. You did nothing. He brought on Piccoli and Dorgu, and they scored in the 90th and the 92nd minute to get them winners. That winning goal can be simply a case of Fiorentina losing focus after conceding a goal in the 90th minute. They're like, damn, we've thrown the lead. And then while they're thinking that, damn, we got nothing out of this game because Patrick Dorgu is scoring the winner.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and also you look at the form, right, of Fiorentina at the moment. They haven't been doing great, let's be real. They had every opportunity to be in 5th because Roma were slipping up, Bologna were slipping up, Napoli were slipping up, Lazio keeps slipping up. But they have failed to remain consistent and get wins when they needed wins. If you look at their past 4 games, they don't have a single win, bro, in their past 4 games, and they have 3 losses and 1 draw. And I think a large part of that comes for 2 reasons. Number 1, I feel like they're struggling a lot defensively. I think if you put pressure on Fiorentina, chances are you're going to score against them. Secondly, there are 3 things, okay. Secondly, I don't feel like they properly control games, and games kind of escape them a little bit. Now, I don't quite know why that is, but it's there. It doesn't seem like the game is ever in their control and they're always catching up to it. Third point is they suck at scoring goals. They are not a creative team by any way. Beltran and Dinzola are not the strikers that they want. Now they brought in Belotti and he came in off the bench, just until he settles. Nico came in off the bench because he's coming back from injury. And just at the moment, it's all going south for them. And all they needed was to come up against a highly motivated Lecce team who are battling relegation. And they know that every point is crucial. And they were fearless against Fiorentina. They really, really took the game to them, bro.
Yes, I think Belotti is the type of profile that actually fits this Fiorentina side better than Beltran or Nzola do. I like what Belotti can do in link-up play. I like the type of, towards the latter part of his season, his tenure at Torino, he was playing balls from deep, his forward balls, these through balls, defense cutting balls. It just goes to show, there's a lot more to his skill set than we've seen at Roma. And I think this could be a good environment for him where he's competing with 2 strikers who, one of them, Nzola, is just offering nothing in play and is assisting the other team unless he's scoring penalties, And then you have Lucas Beltran, who, granted, his goals are coming through very hard work and very high levels of awareness. He's a hustler, but it's not been easy for him at all, and he has struggled to settle into this Fiorentina side. So I think that number 9 position is there for the taking, and I think Belotti is a good candidate for it.
Yeah, I think so. How much would they be kicking themselves that they let Jovic go on a 1-year contract with Milan?
Probably not too much, because we saw the way he was playing at Fiorentina. He was very frustrating to watch.
Over 1 season, bro. And he was also very good for them in Europe. Don't forget that. In the Conference League, he was a monster for them.
Yeah, they might be kicking themselves. They probably are kicking themselves, let's be real. But Fiorentina like to put strikers in the box and feed them, and Jovic is not that guy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I mean you're absolutely right. But let's move towards Lecce a little bit. We haven't really often debated it, but you are a fan of Kristovic, and the fact that obviously Kristovic does tend to create chances where chances aren't there to be created. He'll have a strike, from distance. He'll give you a good shot on the turn. But is obviously really struggling for goals. He got one recently, but let's not pretend that wasn't a crazy own goal. Let's not pretend that was the case. Piccoli, to me, looks more certain to grab a goal. When Piccoli's playing, he's simply grabbing goals, and Kristovic is not. So I can't help but lean more towards
a matter
Piccoli.
of form. Towards the beginning of the season, no one would have ever dreamt of displacing Kristovic for Piccoli, But it turns out that their form is working in parallel ways, which is actually a very good thing for Lecce, because they always have one firing.
Like last year with Cisse and Colombo.
Exactly, literally, man. That could be a way in managing their men. That could be intentional. Who knows? We're not there.
Oh, Kristovic has more goals, huh?
Kristovic
has
had
5,
Piccoli
has 4.
Kristovic started the season super well, man, and he was looking like a natural striker, and now it's clearly a problem of confidence, and he has improved. This game he got quite close to scoring. The goal on the rebound was his shot that caused
Yes,
it.
but I find that Piccoli is more intelligent when it comes to his positioning as a number 9. I feel like he finds himself in goal scoring opportunities more often than Kristovic.
I'm not so sure I agree with that. I like Kristovic
then
as
fuck you.
I love Kristovic as a fox in the box. I think his movement in the box.
Some fox, he is. Some fucking fox.
But you know what, man? This is a good problem for Lecce to have because they're both 23 years old. They're both scoring in Serie A, so you know what? They have 2 potential good sales over there.
Yeah. Apparently, Lecce have a certain Salvatore Sullo as one of their coaches, and apparently since his arrival, the team has been performing much better. So I don't know enough about Salvatore Sullo, what he's doing, and why he's making Lecce better, but Salvatore, if you're listening, good on you, man.
Keep it up, man.
Keep it up. Fiorentina find themselves down in 8th. That's how fragile your position is in this league. In 8th place on 34 points, whilst Lecce, massive step in the right direction for them. They're in 13th on 24 points. Some breathing space now. 6 points ahead of 18th placed Cagliari and 17th placed Verona.
The Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones derby. Bologna 4, Sassuolo 2. You don't get that reference?
Of course I don't.
You never watched Game of Thrones.
I never watched.
That you've never been disappointed by the worst ending I've ever seen in my life.
Really? You didn't like it? I remember you couldn't stop talking about it.
Because Game of Thrones is incredible, bro. It's just a journey up until the final season. And it's an incredible journey. It takes you through a range of emotions.
Right, you sound like a mother right now.
It's fucking incredible, man. It's incredible, honestly. And you never know what's gonna happen, bro. You can't get emotionally attached to anyone because they'll just fucking kill them off. Like it's a crazy good show. But then the last season was just rushed because apparently they had a contract to make some Disney film, Star Wars or something.
Yawn.
Yeah, yawn. It was fucking. They ruined it basically.
I can never watch Game of Thrones because of my fucking pride, man. Because my ex-girlfriend was always like, I can't believe you never watched Game of Thrones. It's an ick. It's an ick that you never watched Game of Thrones. It's like the greatest of all time. You're not hipster, man. Not watch it. I'm like, let's watch it then. Let's fucking watch it. Watch season 1. Oh, sorry. We watched episode 1. Thought it was amazing. I thought it was great. And there was this kid who climbed the tower to try spy on this girl that he fancied, and there was her brother fucking her, like. And there's an incest scene.
Yeah.
And the brother sees the kid climbing, and he just fucking punches him in the face and sends him flying down this castle. And it ended, and I was like, holy shit, my God.
And you're like, you know what? I'm never gonna continue this ever again.
And I was like, we have to watch episode 2 right now. And she's like, no, I don't feel like I have a headache. And I'm like, can we please watch episode 2? I really need to know if this kid is dead or not. Show me he's not dead. Like, what? Like, how can... What are you doing? Like,
what if I told you that kid becomes the most powerful person in the
and he's a piece
brother?
Of shit, no?
Piece of shit? No, he's not a piece of shit.
There's some king piece of shit.
Bran, I believe was his name, yeah. But anyway, man, what the fuck are we talking about? Bologna 4, Sassuolo 2. Skorupski was in goal. Posh was at the back with Beukema, Calafiori and Christensen for Bologna. Abisher, Freuler and Ferguson were in the middle with Fabian, Zergzi and Urbanski playing up front.
You said Skorupski. Brother, it's Skorupski.
Who had a terrible mistake as well, just like Montepò.
Yes.
You know?
Not Montepò. Falcone. I also confused Lecce and Verona.
They came up at the same time, Montepò and Falcone. They were two up-and-coming goalkeepers.
Yes.
Yeah. Falcone, better. Consili was in goal for Sassuolo with a back four of Josh Doig, Matteo Viti, Martin Ehrlich and Pedersen, with Lipani and Tordsvet playing as the midfield two. Christian Volpato on loan from Roma, actually bought from Roma.
Yes,
was
purchased.
Out on the right. Lauriente was on the left. Bairami was playing behind Andrea Pinamonti. Now Bologna showcased a lot of resilience this game, overcoming a goal deficit twice for a remarkable victory. Key moments included Tordsvet's early strike, which was a gift from Skorupski, who played the ball directly at him, Xerxes' deflected equalizer of Viti, and Volpato's curler to end the half 2-1. That Volpato goal was incredible.
Yes, very nice.
Technique was really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, Xerxes' shot was also good. I thought it was a fantastic goal from the get-go, but it took a massive deflection.
Yeah, they gave me the 10, then they took it away. It was crazy.
One of those. In the second half, Fabian scored a lovely header. I really like this player. He's on loan from Inter.
Smart, innit?
Smart. He's got good positional awareness and a good finish on him as well. You know, if he finds himself in front of goal, he's scoring. And it's not very common with...
especially for a young whippersnapper
players,
such as himself.
And he plays quite deep, you know. He plays in the pivot sometimes. He's a versatile midfielder, Fabian. Motta's substitutions, including Salamakers and Orsolini, played a pivotal role, while Ferguson's late curler into the far corner secured the victory. Salamakers got his first goal for Bologna shortly after a clumsy dribble and a well-placed finish.
He celebrated with doing like one. Like that's my first one.
That's the first
like,
one.
right.
One. I hope you're counting.
I'm counting.
Yeah,
I'm counting.
One. All right. So that's the name of this episode. One.
One.
Next time he scores, we'll name it 2. Oh my god, and the art would be Salamakers holding a 1. No, I don't have time for that. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely hilarious. Yes, Bologna's unbeaten home streak reaches 10 games, elevating them to 5th in Serie A, while Sassuolo face concerns with 7 defeats in 9 matches. Now, this game, okay, granted, Sassuolo brought it and they really did their best to take something home from this one, but Bologna absolutely dominated the possession. When it came to shots on goal, Sassuolo actually had more. So it was quite a balanced game in the shooting department, but of course, possession-wise, it was all Bologna. And I think they had a bit too much spunk for Sassuolo to handle, especially in the later part of the game. Because, you know, the winning goal came in the 83rd minute, and then right after that, the lapse in concentration, of course, in the 86th minute. The 4th goal.
You've been saying...
You think I'm going to stop saying spunk?
He literally just said they had too much spunk for Sassuolo to handle.
They had too much
like
spunk,
how much
man.
Spunk did they have, bro?
It didn't stop, man. But yeah, that was quite a good victory for Bologna, who are on the right trajectory again after a bit of a lapse in form. Yeah. Looking at the standings right now, that 4th spot is up for grabs, but Atalanta are definitely looking to be the more consistent side.
Yeah.
Roma are obviously shooting their way up there, but they're playing Inter next time. We don't know what's going to happen. They've had good fixtures for now, and we don't know how De Rossi will cope against certain other teams. We've seen, for example, certain spells in the Salernitana game where Salernitana looked like the better coached team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Napoli, another moody side, but it seems like they've accepted the fact that they're a 3 at the back team at the moment, and they're actually getting the results they want with that, granted not in the prettiest way possible. Fiorentina a little bit moody at the moment, inconsistent. Lazio inconsistent, so there's a lot of inconsistency in the league.
But one thing that we saw, brother, is the new competitors for Champions League, Europa League, which are Fiorentina and Bologna, went through a spell where they reminded us perhaps why they are not consistent competitors and why they are not part of the top 7 discussion.
Yes.
They went through that spell, and you know what? Perhaps they will go through another spell like that. Let us not get carried away with a streak or a run of form, because sometimes teams look unstoppable, and then the
thing that excited me about Bologna was their tactical flexibility, but we always address the fact that 2 injuries or 1 injury could ruin them and their chances for a serious European push.
Yes.
The season is long. We're only 22 games in. There are a total of 38 games.
We're 23 games in, but some teams 22.
Yeah. So yeah, season is long. We'll see. I think time will most definitely tell who the more consistent ones are.
Yeah, and I'm a bit concerned about Sassuolo when it comes to where they're finding themselves in the table. Because that is
41 goals.
They are 1 point ahead of 18th placed Cagliari. And 1 point ahead of 17th placed Verona. Oh my god. You have Verona, Cagliari and Empoli each on 18 points.
Yeah.
If one of them win or one of them draw, we can see Udinese or Sassuolo in the relegation zone next week.
Yeah, because only Salernitana have lost more games than Sassuolo.
Madonna, that's
Cagliari
a crazy
and
stat.
Empoli and Verona have actually lost the same amount of games as Sassuolo with 13.
Brother, we could record the entire podcast just looking at this table.
It's true. That's not a bad idea. Now we had 3 nil-nils.
Yes, we have 10 minutes left, so we have good time to...
So much for a quick one.
This is supposed to be an hour.
Yeah, this is the Fennec quickie, alright? You're never going to get one.
The Fennec quickie.
Torino were all over Salernitana, but of course the usual problem with Torino not being able to score or convert their chances.
Yep.
They had an XG of 0.95 to put into consideration, which means they should have scored 1 goal. Salernitana had an XG of 0.10. I can't remember them having a proper shot on target. What we did see was Jerome Boateng, his debut at the back, and he did look like a proper leader, at the end of the game, high-fiving everyone, come on boys, all that shit. He'll be a useful player for them.
Come on boys and all that shit.
You had the other 2 nil-nils. Anything of note in those?
Well, I had the Udinese Monza game, which basically, to be honest, saw Udinese deserved the victory over there. I mean, if you look at the statistics, it does not take a rocket scientist to see that Udinese probably deserved more out of this game. So it was Monza had the lion's share of possession with 53%. Udinese, though, had 21 shots, 6 of which were on target, 8 off target, 7 blocked. When you look at Monza's attempts, they had 3 shots to 1 target. The XG for Monza was 0.11, whilst it was 0.9 for Udinese, so they were almost expected to score the game, score in this game. I thought Udinese looked good in this game, had it not been for the great Michele Di Gregorio, who had a superb game. We could have seen Udinese get one of their few victories this season. Di Gregorio had 6 saves in this game. Lucca played well, Thuvon played well, Sandy Lovrich looked good as well. It was overall, I was quite surprised by the performance of Udinese, considering where they find themselves in the table. As for the other game, which is Empoli against Genoa, this was possibly the liveliest one and the one that could have gone either way. There was a notable moment that came in the 92nd minute, which was the sending off on De Winter on loan from Juve, but obviously that didn't have much of an impact on the outcome of the game. Very even affair. You see Empoli with 48% ball possession to Genoa's 52% ball possession. One thing you will see over here is the increased confidence of this Empoli team putting up a fight against Alberto Gilardino's Genoa. They were not scared to bring the game to them, knowing, the certain assets that their opponents have in players like Goodmanson, Retegui, Malinowski, Spence nowadays, who looked fucking good in this game, to be honest. Yeah, but Empoli, they were threatening. That's 15 shots, 4 of which were on target, to Genoa's 10 shots where 2 were on target. And again, man, it's all about the press of Davide Nicola's side, and it's all about the durability of his teams. Man, and it's also crazy just to see how a simple change in formation has changed the way that this team looks so drastically. They were looking so flat, so boring. They weren't creative at all with their 4 at the back formation. Now just a simple switch to the 3-4-2-1 formation. You have Zurkowski and Cambiaghi playing behind Cherry, and wow, man, they look way more creative and way more dynamic for that. Genoa struggled to penetrate this unit of a team who, when they're defending, they defend as a team, and when they attack, they send a couple fellows to attack up there themselves. But it was a very entertaining affair. I couldn't tell you who I think deserved to win this game. Romantically, I would say Empoli, but it was a very even affair.
Fair enough, brother. So guys, thank you very much if you've made it this far. If you would like to support our content, you can find us on Patreon. It's only $3.99 a month, and the money will be reinvested into the podcast and to make sure that we can continue uploading content consistently.
Yeah. We also play a song when we get a new patron, and we're not going to tell you what the song is until you become a patron, and we'll play a little song for you and we can vibe together and have a good time. If you don't want to be a patron, at least be nice, drop us a like, drop us a rating, and send us a DM. We love hearing from you guys, we love speaking with you guys, and yes, we'll see you all next week. Have a happy weekend and enjoy the football.
This is Serie A Spotlight.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.